Good morning, Unleashed Lund loyalists. Thanks for tuning in live each weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. Remember, please like and subscribe and listen where you get your podcasts. Be on the lookout for Lund loyalists perks by joining the club. And if you really want your comments read during the show, you can use supers and stickers. Now, as close to on time as he gets, here's Johnny.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for joining us. It is a Friday, which is amazing. Episode 46. A little haggard today. Got to be honest with you. Lots of stuff going on. We got rain for 8 straight days. It is going to be a tremendous show today. We will do roll call in just a second. And I know that Papa is technologically challenged. So we'll see if he's going to be here, because we will have a great time and enjoy ourselves quite immensely if and when he jumps in here. So he should be here shortly. We will make sure. Let me just get the comments up here. We are looking good. I'll see him backstage. And he just texted me and said, I can go anytime. And there he is. I see him right there. He looks wonderful as always. I will do roll call in a minute. Episode 46, as you can see on the right side. I have a lot of things, but ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, it's been months. I've been crying myself to sleep pretty much every night. Alcohol and crying. As you know, as I've been crying on the show constantly, but here he is, the voice of your San Francisco 49ers. And boy, do I have a lot of surprises for him today that he has no idea about, but there he is. Oh, very nice. He goes with the Super Papa. Very, very nice.
Hey, you know what this stands for? You know what this stands for? You know what that's for?
Yeah, I do know that ad.
The machine.
Oh, you have started out
Matt
strong.
Barnes was good back in the day, but Matt Barnes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Not had a dry January.
Yes.
He's the great age.
Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful.
I love your sappy intro about missing me.
Yeah,
Every time I send you a text, John has silenced notifications, and nothing is ever unsilenced. I do have a word for you.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you explain this picture to me?
That was early in the process. That might have been my 5th show or something like that. And I asked AI, I said, make me a picture of 49ers play-by-play voice, Greg Papa. I mean, nailed it. Did that thing nail it, or did it nail it?
So my attorneys reached out to me right away. And thought, is he allowed to do this? And then I thought, what?
No.
This image, which I don't know who this person is, he's never looked better. He's got a jacket on like he's going to the Hall of Fame. And look at the hair.
The hair is on point.
Perfect hair. And I've even got a headset on. You know how hard it is to combine headset and hair because you get headset head? I love this.
No, that was
my holiday card next year. I thank you for that.
That was the best one. I don't do as much AI anymore, but that was the best AI by a mile. I mean, that thing was just woo! That was amazing.
Can you send me 24 of those, please?
Oh yeah, I can do that. I've got that thing down. Where'd you get that cup? I've never seen that cup before. Is that new?
My new partner.
Cup?
My new partner gives me lavish gifts.
Oh, he lavishes you? Does he lavish you with gifts?
All John ever bought me was booze.
I do have booze. It is a tradition that I do Bailey's on Friday, so we do that. I'm telling you, you are going to love this. So what I tried to do, you can see the screen, right? Because I put all these pictures together.
I see it.
I put all these pictures together, and for some reason, the only Super Bowl I couldn't find, because I hoard nothing, but I hoard pictures. So
this was at the end of Hangover 1.
Yeah.
You and I were flying back from all the destinations of the Super Bowl. We looked at all the pictures, and you promised to delete.
Well, I deleted them.
I don't want any of these shown.
Okay. For the most part, there is nothing here, and I double check this. There is nothing here that is going to incriminate either of us. But my thought is that the statute of limitations is probably up. But I couldn't find the one thing is because it's in New Orleans next week, and I do feel naked and cry because I think you and I have probably been to. I mean, we've been to what 15 of the last 16 or something, Super Bowl, something like that.
So that was Super Bowl 47, and they're
right in New Orleans,
59 a week from Sunday. So
yeah.
I think I may have missed one. I don't know, but we've been to
not
almost
many.
Everyone, without a doubt, the New Orleans one, which started it off, was the most epic. We went to Pat O'Brien's, and I got there before you. I met Cordell Stewart and all the wives.
I forgot about Cordell Stewart.
Desperate
Housewives. Real Housewives of Atlanta, and he had gotten divorced from her or something. All I know is you got there first. And hurricanes were flowing, and it was just pure debauchery. I told the story yesterday that the only good that Bucher ever did was he bought us dinner one time and made the mistake that halfway through dinner, he said, I'm buying dinner. And when you buy dinner for people, you tell them at the end. You don't tell them in the middle.
It was over.
And then he went and got suits, remember? He's like, well, I'm leaving because I'm having suits done. We're like, we're in New Orleans. Are you insane?
And I do want to see these pictures. I don't know if you have any from New Orleans, but I mean, the epic New Orleans night was we went for absinthe at 4:30 in the morning. The dirty water. I got a receipt to show us buying 3 shots of absinthe.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
The girl's like, "What do you want?" We were out with Townie, and then the crowd said, "Don't frown."
Don't. Brown. I was even looking for "Don't Frown" on the brown, and I couldn't even find that picture. I don't know where the New Orleans.
Did we use our cell phones like cameras?
Not quite as much. Yeah. But I do know that you're right. On the plane ride home, which was a long one, I think we deleted a lot of those. I have every other Super Bowl but that one, really. I mean, I have a few from that one, but not really. But I do have a lot of good pictures
New
I'm going to show
you.
you.
Is definitely number one. New York would be number 2.
New York was really good. It was more fun when we didn't have teams in. Although I will say, by Friday in Miami, your voice was a little scratchy. Miami was a good time.
I was fine for the game. I was fine after the night at the Clevelander in Miami.
The Clevelander was unbelievable. So Miami was cool. I got to give you credit. You were burning it on both ends in there was a long Miami.
You know, I even did it before the Niners Super Bowl that I wasn't broadcasting. The night before the game, I just shut it down. That's Saturday, and you had to get up. So the ultimate night was the Friday night in New Orleans. Right. And that's the night when we were at dinner when Bucher said he was going to pay. I was like, what? What's wrong with you?
You're going to pay.
Okay. Bring us 6 bottles of
That's what happened.
No, but then I got the text that the whale was coming in.
Oh, yeah.
My friend
the whole dinner. The whale. You have no idea. The whale.
Whale's epic. And if he's listening out there, we love Whale. I actually gave him my 2 Super Bowl tickets to he and his son. I got grief from my family for that. Like, what are you doing? Whale's going to enjoy the game more than me. And anyway, so when Whale came in, then it just never ended, and it rolled all night Friday night.
Yeah.
We wound up. What was the place when I did the Bourbon Cowboy bit?
That was
Griggs and Dennis.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were on. But then you were on the air the next morning with Low Neal.
Well, I'm trying to get low on this week.
58 that now. You were on the air at 8 a.m. Like, how'd you do that?
I'm trying to get low on the air because he had laryngitis. Remember, we ran into John Fina, the old Buffalo Bills tackle, and we were on Frenchman Street. We went off Bourbon and we went to Frenchman Street, and here he is with his 4 AFC Championship rings. We're like, those
are the loser rings. I'm like, take it easy, bro. This guy's gonna crush you.
He's like 6'7", 330.
Out here anyway. I got 3 of them.
Exactly. They're here somewhere.
I got 3 loser rings.
Oh, it was. I mean, the stories, Townie and that Saturday morning, and people following. Oh my God, people following us to the hotel. I mean, that was epic.
And then
so
New York was the Jonathan Libby Super Bowl. It's the one I remember about him.
Our producer, for those who know, our producer Jonathan Libby, he would just disappear. And so you go out at the Super Bowl and everybody's together, especially in New York City. There was so much to do. I got a lot of good New York City pictures I'm going to pop up here for you. But all of a sudden, our producer was just never there, and there was some weird speculation. Went to the Knicks and Celtics game, right?
Knicks Celtics.
Yeah, Knicks Celtics
for Madison Square Garden. It was so
yeah, and here let me pop up a couple of.
I lost one of these. I had I wasn't with the Niners back then, but I
that
had
story.
three iPads.
That story is so unbelievable that most people would have cried and went into the room, but you lost a bag that basically had everything in your life in it.
I lost the bag, but I got the bag I wanted. I was going to see a guy named Budman in New York, and believe me, he wasn't giving me Budweiser.
Exactly.
But I got out of seeing him. They got in the cab. I left my backpack, whatever I had then, my briefcase, three iPads in it gone. But more importantly, all my Denver Bronco notes and all my Seahawks notes were gone forever. I remember going to precinct 16, and like every morning in New York, bringing those guys donuts. They're like, "Hey, Papa's here. Anybody find his iPad?"
Yeah, they'll laugh. Here, I got some good ones. I got some great ones from New York that will just pop your memory right up, and we can tell some good stories here. So, here's Aldon. There, I found that one. Look at my hair there. That's good. That's a good looking picture of me. Don't know what your hair in that picture is out.
That's almost like the John Leach on John Lund Unleashed. It looks very similar.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, that's a good hair day.
Let's go side by side with the hair. Very, very
in
cool.
New York, we were like sardines. I mean, there you go. That was like sardine cans. But the best story that comes out of the Aldon one is that was when he had the accelerator against the tree, and Jed let him play against Indy and all this kind of stuff. So his handler, I've told this to people, everybody's got a handler, and they sit him down and say the first thing he says is, "Don't ask him this." And what's the first thing you ask him?
Well, okay, the handlers, you know what? We're not going to the Super Bowl this year. One, because how the hell can I go to the Super Bowl without John? I mean, what would I do? Sit in my room, stay back and play pinochle? What am I going to do? But also the fact that the game's Kansas City, Philadelphia, I really don't.
Right, yeah, enough.
Radio Row, it's great because you get all these legends and people talking about the game, but then you get the handlers who are basically these people are there to promote a company, and they have some person with them that gives you the talking point, and they're like the producer of our show. They're like, I'm like, we'll run our own show. Go sit in the corner. When we want you on the air, we'll put you on the air. But these people just barge in the middle of a segment, and do you want to do mushrooms with Jake Plummer? Hell, I'll do that. But is that good radio?
Yeah, that was different.
The Aldon Smith woman is really in our face. And I didn't have time to talk to him. Honestly, it was compassion. The guy hit a tree on a Friday morning before a game. He should have gone. Look, the 49ers played him. You know what? This is a hard business. You play them. I'm all in agreement with that. But the moment the season was over, let's check him into a rehab center. Let's try to get him cleaned up. I was the only person looking out for the guy's safety.
You know what? I remember though him saying, because the handler was freaking out when you asked him, but what Aldon said is, I remember. Right. Well, I remember him though. I remember him putting his hand up, going, "I'll handle it," and he was actually really, really good. And the picture that I put up there, that was actually after the interview, because Aldon liked the fact that we allowed him to tell his side of the story, which is he said, I need to get rehab. Because if he doesn't do that, as you said, I remember many, many times, like Derek Jeter's girlfriend came on with us in the Super Bowl, and the first thing the handler said was, "Don't ask about Derek Jeter." We're like, well, what the hell are we going to talk to her about? So, of course, we did ask it, and it worked out fine. But I remember
all the gift basket when she left Derek's apartment.
You asked about Aldon, and he said, "Hey, I want to talk about it," and it ended up being fine. So that was a good one.
Honestly, in the Bay Area history, remember we had Charles Haley on at a golf tournament, and Charles cried to us.
That was
Charles
scary.
Made the Hall of Fame with all the issues that he had, and whether he was bipolar, chemical imbalance. He didn't get the proper help until he retired. And how many Super Bowls the Niners had won had they kept Charles Haley and not sent him to Dallas? Aldon Smith had 14 sacks as a rookie, 19 and a half in his second year in the NFL. He was going to be a superstar. He would have broken Bruce Smith's record. How much would they have won? It's just beyond me. And you see all these reports, they're living in this place in San Jose and what's going on there. Could somebody help this guy? And then we saw him with the Raiders later. He made Khalil Mack a defensive player of the year. He was still good that year. And then what happened? Did not play, suspended. Did not play, suspended. did not play suspended. He missed year after year after year. His career is over prematurely. I think he's straight now and he's not drinking. But why didn't anybody help him when he hit the tree that Friday before the Colts game? And why was he allowed to go directly to Radio Row?
That was wild.
Betty Ford. The whole thing was
that was. I remember us asking him that. So here you go. By the way, I didn't show you the cover today. I do have the picture of you and Eddie D. There's me and you and Ronnie live.
All right.
The one picture there, and I'm going to pop this up. We always expected it to be the last Raiders game, so that was actually a Raiders game. There's Colonel Angus in the corner, which needs no explanation. There's Kyle Harrison there. That picture in the middle, right under Reunited. I got a good picture for you. Now, again, Greg Papa does a tremendous radio show from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But this is a picture of you and I in 2011. Ignore the part of it, but that was the original premise.
Who's the guy next to him? Wow, is that Dan Dibley?
And they called it the Wheelhouse. So I come down here, right? I come down here in 2011, and our fearless leader, who is now the leader of this industry somehow, says to me, hey, you're either going to work with Rick Bucher or Mike Silver. This is in July of 2011. So I said, okay. Yeah. So I said, I'll come down there. Then he throws at me when I'm already living here in the city. He throws at me, I'm going to do this concept of it's called the Wheelhouse. I'm going to throw Steinmetz and Michael Urban and Papa. And after about a couple of weeks, I went, these other two guys, no offense to them, but they got to go. Like, clearly, this is the show. So could you convince Papa? I know he's a busy guy. He's got 1,000 things going on. He's got a bunch of kids, a bunch of wives, a bunch of jobs. And you just convince
I'm no Matt Barnes, though, John. I'm no Matt Barnes.
I said,
hump January.
I said, can you convince this guy to do the show on a regular basis? They're throwing Kawakami in there. They're throwing. I mean, anybody who's got an off day, they're like, hey, want to do? Yeah, I love him. But you want to do this show with this guy named Lund who nobody knows who he is. And everyone's like, no.
Yeah. You left me for a number of years.
Yeah, that's on me.
I had to jump across to reunite with you. We started that August the 1st of 2011. I did it like twice a week maybe. And then the next year my roles changed on TV and I could do it. And it all worked just so perfectly. And then the next thing you know, I'm doing Monday through Friday talk radio, which I done 1 year in my life, like a long time ago when Radnich went to
on 1050, right? It was a Raiders.
It was during the NBA lockout one. Anyway, and then here I am. What year is it now? 2025. The last day of January of 2025. Matt Barnes could get one more woman before the end of the month. I think he may go 2 for 1 shot clock at the end.
Oh my God! But yeah, so that's how it worked. And I can still remember this. Levi's Stadium. I don't think it was open yet, but I was down there, of course, drinking with Chris Townsend, and we were getting ready to, do something down there. And we were dotting I's and crossing T's, and you finally called up. I was sitting at a Bennigan's at a bar, as a matter of fact. And you said, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'll do this on the regular. Because what was cool about it was we were in a building at the time on Howard Street where you could walk right across the street and do TV. So even if you wanted to leave early or something, we could pre-tape something. And you were doing Giants at that time and Warriors and so it was easy.
Show at 3:00.
You'd walk across the street.
3 then I'd be on TV at 3:30. Never had to move my car.
Right.
I walked out, did a couple of shots, and went to work. It was like,
so it worked because you were right. You were luckily right across the street, so it ended up working out at that time.
You're bringing back a lot of memories. I forgot about all these stuff.
Yeah, that's okay. So, I have
we don't have any incriminating ones.
No, I don't. Here's one of my favorites. Now, this is Super Bowl 50, so we're going to jump around a little bit just because I want to play. I want to pop this one up.
This is the one in Santa Clara. It's a home game.
Yeah, this is the one that's in Santa Clara. This is Super Bowl 50, but the reason I'm popping this up is because there's a story behind the person that I'm going to pop up here. So there's Dwight Clark. How about that? There's you and I and Dwight.
Wow.
And that is Super Bowl 50 right there. I'm not sure who's sitting by him there, but that's Super Bowl 50. And the reason I put that up there is Dwight was one of our first.
What was her name? Sean Weatherly? What was her name?
Yeah.
What was her name?
So Dwight, and I'm sure he's telling the story right there, but one of our first guests, our first guest ever, I don't know why I remember this, was Bip Roberts, because at the time we carried the A's on 97.5 or 95.7, and that was there you go. You nailed it. And the line
I'll
from
never
Dwight
forget
was,
her, Jeff. I'll never forget her.
So
A lot of
I
people
think
had
Dwight,
Farrah Fawcett posters over their bed.
yeah,
I had Sean
you with
Weatherly's
that.
poster in my bed. Look at the hair on her.
So Dwight Clark is dating Miss Universe, and we do the second interview we ever do on the show with Dwight. And Dwight's famous line was what?
So he's told me this story like 3 different times. I think he told us on a studio show. You know, they're having the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, whatever's left of the Am part of the Pro-Am. I go down there one year when the Niners were playing the Giants. They had like a 4-on-4, and Dwight was playing. And I went there specifically to do Chronicle Live after and have Dwight on. And he said, all right, I'll do the show, but there's one thing you got to do. You got to go in the lodge after and drink with me. I'm like, are you kidding me? Done.
Twist my arm for that.
Weatherly story. So there's a backdrop to this. I was at Super Bowl 16 when the 49ers played the Bengals
in Pontiac. Right. Yeah, you were there.
I drove from Syracuse. Sean McDonough and I were really close. We were roommates and worked together. And his dad, Will McDonough, a great sports writer for the Globe, the first one to go on TV on NBC, got us a job through the NFL. We drove from Syracuse in a snowstorm. I drove, of course, and we went up through Canada. And in Canada, you can go, not just 100, kilometers an hour. You could go, not 100 kilometers an hour. You go 100 miles per hour. So anyway, we pull in there. It's a snowstorm. So we get an assignment from the league. We're going to be on the field during Super Bowl 16. I was on the 49ers sideline. Sean was on the Bengals sideline. So Sean I didn't do anything the whole game. Sean got a call from the press box. Hey, Forrest Gregg thinks that it's too misty in here, foggy in here. I'm like, what are we going to do? Put the AC up higher? I got nothing. But I stood right below on the Niners sideline, like on the 33-yard line, right behind the bench. I was right next to Joe Montana's grandmother and Dwight Clark's girlfriend, who was Sean Weatherly. So I went over to chat.
The whole game. I
went up to chat with Joe's grandma, like every play. I'm like, look at how beautiful Joe's playing. Hey, what's your name, babe? So I knew who she was. We all knew who she was. White with the pink coat.
Miss Universe.
Don't name it. He's dating Miss Universe. She's the hottest woman on earth. So I always asked him about her. And the classic line was, how did it go with Sean Weatherly? He said, in the beginning it was a really good relationship, but I kind of got tired. He goes, I wound up, dating her for 4 years, and I really like the last 3.5. I just didn't like her that much. But, what was I supposed to do? I looked at her every morning, and she was so effing hot. I was like, can I actually use the word on this?
That was the line. That was the line.
So effing hot. I'm like, he seemed like he's laughing. He's like,
it was so great the way he told the story.
Miss Universe? Who's going to be next? Miss Alabama?
Exactly. Miss Alabama.
Miss Universe. Miss Galaxy.
Yeah, what is he going to do?
Where are you going to go? So, Miss Uranus? Where are you going next? I mean, who's next? So
that's why I pop it up there because there's Dwight.
Every time I think of him, I'm going to cry. I think of the you all think of the catch and the great moments.
Right.
I think of she's so effing hot. I couldn't break up with her.
That was like the second guest we ever had on. Not there. That's Super Bowl 50 with us, but it was just he was so classic. It was such a great story to have Dwight on. Let me see. I'm going to pop these up. I'm just randomly popping these up. I got a bunch of New York ones, but I'm going to pop this one up just because. This is a funny story. This was the most hungover I've ever been in my life.
Where are we?
Game.
Where is this game?
This is New England. This is the stopover before. You're doing Raiders here. This is the stopover between New England and.
Where'd you get this pitch?
Somebody took it, and you're getting ready. We're probably an hour before the game, and that's at Foxborough. And I went out a little too late with a young lady that I had met.
I'm the one who gave you the Magic Johnson assist on that one.
You did give me the Magic Johnson assist.
You were James Worthy, swoop it in.
And then after the game, the greatness of that game was we go to that area. They stuck us in New England. We go under. They had lost to the Patriots and Brady, obviously. We walk underneath the stadium, and there's Tom and Jizzy, and they're waiting. And Lincoln screams at Tom. It was a fumble. And so Brady stops. Giselle stops. The kids are real young. And that was on the way to that area that they kept us where all the players could drink until we could get onto the plane to go to England to play the Dolphins, in which Dennis Allen got fired on that trip. I have a better picture of it a little bit later, but that was just so epic because some guy named Janikowski maybe was a little too overserved.
Well,
that was a fun trip.
That was the trip. We started it in New England and went to Old England.
Yes.
And I remember about that
exactly
trip.
Right.
I don't remember what day we left on. It was probably a Friday to go to New England typically. John Lund showed up for the Raider charter 24 hours earlier.
Oh, that's right.
He showed up on Thursday. We weren't flying till Friday. I'm waiting to do the show with John. And welcome to the Wheelhouse.
I thought we were leaving it Thursday.
John? He's at the airport. I'm like, we're not going to tomorrow. Why did he go there? Then,
well, what was funny was you show up. Here's what was so embarrassing about it was you show up at the facility. So I show up at the Raiders facility, which you and we did that on I think Thursday we did the shows there. But I show up there dressed to go on a plane with a piece of luggage, and everybody's looking at me like, where are you going, pal?
You're good for tomorrow.
We're not leaving till tomorrow.
Just sleep here. It was so great. And then, how many stories did we tell on that one?
Here, I got the one. Here.
So it was after we lost to New England.
Yeah.
We had to wait a long time to fly to London.
Yeah, we go into that place.
The Patriots gave us like a place to stay at Gillette Stadium.
So cool.
And Janikowski and Leckler just
right.
So
it was all
Janikowski we didn't make the flight. He's gonna get mad at me for telling this. Scott Touche, the Raiders trainer, he still is.
But
it's the flight to England.
Yeah. That was Janikowski's fault.
Yeah, of course.
Because what they did was they gave us all the food and drink we could have, and all the players are there, and we're watching the afternoon games. And Janikowski went a little too far. And I don't know who did this, but I was walking, behind everybody, and they said, "You watch Janikowski." I'm like, "Are you insane? You want me to watch Janikowski?"
Because you'll be at the bar with him drinking.
Right. And they almost didn't let him on the plane because he had drank so much.
Touche missed the flight, and then the ultimate thing there. That was our show was on at like 10 o'clock at night. Well, what time did we start? I would be out all day in England with my family and barely make the show.
Right.
But the classic one was middle of the week. And I think it was a Tuesday because the Raiders practiced Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I tried to be a practice. Anyway, George Atkinson and the late, great Cliff Branch are trying to get me to go from London to Amsterdam on the Tuesday off day. And this is when Amsterdam was Amsterdam. The whole world wasn't Amsterdam yet. So I'm like, whoa. So, but we already made a plan to take my daughter, surprise her, and fly her for her 21st birthday. She was on a trip. We took her to Paris to go to Coco Chanel.
Because we had the one day. We had the one day we could do whatever.
I ended up, I was like, well, what do I do? This was the ultimate,
The angel and the devil. Yeah, the angel and the devil, right? Go to Amsterdam. Are you kidding? Go to Amsterdam. Don't go to Amsterdam. Take your daughter to Paris.
So remember we saw George and Cliff the Sunday of the game on the field, and they were.
Here, watch this. Look at this. I have this. Look at that. That's what we're doing.
So that's before we left.
That's the day of the game, and that's at Wembley
England?
Stadium. That's in England. That's Wembley Stadium right there, and that's the day of the game. And George is telling stories about how you should have went to Amsterdam, and you're saying, "No, I did the right thing." So that's right there is Wembley Stadium.
Way better than I remember. His eyes are actually open.
Yeah, but that was like 3 days later.
Him and Cliff on the field. I'm like, did you guys get double clotheslined by Jack Tatum? Like, what happened? They were like,
That was 3 days later. When they first came back, it was like, I remember seeing them on the practice field the next day, and it was like, look at these guys. They got crushed by a semi.
I think I made the right call. But how epic would it have been to go to Amsterdam when the world was not all Amsterdam? With George Atkinson and the late great Cliff Branch. Wow.
Oh, that would have been amazing. But yeah, that's Wembley Stadium right there. And you guys are and you're saying, I went to Paris. It was the right thing to do. George is saying you should have went to Amsterdam.
I don't know. Like 15 years later, I wonder, was it the right thing to do?
Oh, it's classic. All right, let's see what else. I got a ton of stuff here, but I want it to be something where we could tell stories around it. Let me see. What is this one? Aldon, I showed you. I got tons of them. You can't believe how much stuff. This is a great one. Now, this is New York. That's Costner right there. That's me, you, and Costner.
Wow.
And that's New York, and you can
kind
of see
day before he made draft day.
Exactly. I was telling people this the other day. So he comes on, and the only reason Costner comes on is because he's trying to promote Draft Day, which is an awful, awful movie. So this is New York. And what's funny here is, as you're intently listening to him, and you know this story, so I'm just going to lead it to you, and then you can take it from there. But we want to talk about movies. He wants to talk about OJ and Gary Beeman and the Heisman Trophy. So we're going to movies. We're going movies. He's going sports, and it was just back and forth. It was hilarious.
Well, this is Kevin Costner, who's one of the great actors of our generation. But when you think of sports films, he's made some of the best. He's made some really bad ones, obviously.
Yeah.
Draft Day, I don't think I had seen it yet before this interview. I think it was coming.
That was a good thing.
It was brutal.
That was a good thing.
How many capologists look like her? I mean, come on. It's beyond Jennifer Gardner.
Well, I think what he kept doing,
he kept and Paul. Paul D.
He kept trying to get around it. He kept trying to. I know you knew the movie was going to suck because he kept trying to not talk about it, because we kept saying, "Well, it sounds pretty cool," and he kept trying to get back to sports, and he's a big sports guy, so he wanted to talk everything sports.
Yeah, so honestly, I don't know how it came up. Why in the world would I bring up OJ? They were in the Super Bowl. I don't know. Somehow it came up that OJ should have won back-to-back Heismans. Gary Beeman of UCLA got it in 67, and OJ got it in 68 before he was the first pick in the draft the next year to Buffalo. So, Archie Griffins won back-to-back in 74, 75, but OJ should have won back-to-back. But, in light of how OJ's life went later, maybe giving him a double Heisman before he became a double murderer wouldn't have been a good idea. But I don't remember. I remember liking... For some reason, I thought Costner was going to be a little like Nicolas Cage, where he's a thespian.
Right.
He wasn't like that. He is the scarf going, but I had scarves going back then.
Right. No, he was actually cool.
I thought he was cool. I genuinely, when he got up and walked away, we chatted. I was like, hang out longer. He easily could be doing what we do for a living. We could never do what he does for a living.
No.
But the guy loves sports, so it was great talking to him.
And speaking of handlers, I just remember he wanted to keep going. His handler kept giving us the rap. He was one of the best ones. I thought he was.
Is he the biggest?
I thought he was amazing.
We ever had on?
That's a great question. Because again, just
like the time Eddie Vedder called our show and you about.
Oh, that was because of you, Kevin Youkilis. It was 2016, and it was the World Series in Wrigley, and Kevin Youkilis was working for the Cubs, and he said, I got somebody for you, and he threw Eddie Vedder on the phone, and then I turned into, what's the one Chris Farley character? Hey, remember that one time? You remember that one time? And Eddie Vedder's like, get me off the phone with this guy.
I was like, Eddie, and John had jumped in. It was
I love you.
Anyway,
I love
those are the two biggest stars we ever had on was Costner.
Yeah, Eddie Vedder and Kevin Costner for sure.
Eddie Vedder was pretty big.
I remember I looked at this picture, but I didn't put it in the collection for today. When we were doing Super Bowl 50 at Moscone Center, Ryan Reynolds was next to us, but we didn't have him on the show. So Ryan Reynolds would have been pretty cool. I don't know that he would have been a bigger star.
I don't even remember him being next to us. Wow.
I'll have to pop it back up here, but I had him.
Was he Ryan Reynolds yet? Was he that big?
Yeah, not to this extent. Definitely not to this extent. Here, I got so many good ones of these. Let's see. Hold on a second. Okay, real quick, just because I'm going to do some of these, I want to bring up some Niners stuff to you, but this was a funny one just because
the scarf. I got the Costner.
Exactly. You had lots of scarves, but that was one of the many times that we thought the Raiders were done and they weren't. So we would take a ton of pictures at the end of every Raiders season because we thought, well, this is going to be it. And I remember that one just going, well, this is probably the final season. This is probably the final season. And every year we would do that. We would take a picture in front of something because we thought that was kind of going to be the final thing.
So what year was
one
was Charles Woodson's last game, and we had
that was Woodson's last year. This one, I don't know that there's a great story around this one, but I just saw this one with Ronnie. That was good, New York too. I think.
How old are you there? You old enough to drink?
Oh yeah, look at that. That's terrible.
See, now there, I can see the age difference between me and you. I look much older. You look much younger. Now,
not even a haircut.
It almost looks like you're older and I'm younger now.
I know. I've lived a lot, and it's pretty much your fault because I've lived the last 10 years.
For everything. All the because
I think the last.
He'd say, "I'm with Papa." Oh, God.
The last 10 years have been like 20. Oh, this is a good one. This is a really good one. There's Champ Kind.
Wham!
Whammy. That was a good interview.
I loved him.
What's his last name? David something or other. That was a good one.
Yeah.
David.
He's a great character. He was such a good sport, wasn't he?
Oh, he had so much fun. We had a ton of fun with him at Radio Row. Let's see. I got a bunch of other ones. Oh, this is a good one here. This will launch us into something. So this is Moscone Center. That's Eddie D and Jed York, and that's the year Eddie went in. So that was cool. And we got him that year, I remember. That was right before. Let's see. I think that was that Friday, right? Because then he went in that Saturday. Maybe it was a Thursday, but it was late in the week. I remember it was late in the week.
And look who's right there over our shoulder, the great Michael Zigaris.
Zigaris is right there. I think the beard right there is one of your sons in the middle in the black shirt.
That's Derek.
Your sons there.
One of my sons?
Derek. Yeah.
What do you think? Believe me, I'm no Matt Barnes yet. I'm no Matt Barnes.
But there is here. I can make this a lot easier on us. We can show us at the same time. Look at that fanciness. There's Eddie D right there. That was before he went into the Hall of Fame there. So that's a good one. That's a great picture right there. Get us back on the screen here if I can do that.
We had Eddie on a couple of times, and when he was a finalist to get in and he didn't make it.
Yeah.
So it was so great. We kind of had a feel that he was going to get in right then. But that was Hall of Famers all around us with Eddie and the great Michael Zigaris. By the way, I was at an event, Tony La Russa's event, Saturday in Walnut Creek.
A friend of mine told me that.
Billy Bob.
Come on.
D-Man. It was
that was Saturday night?
Saturday night, and Billy Bob was so amazing. We chatted for 20, 30 minutes. He was so cool. He went out afterwards, Anyway, I told Billy Bob, when they do the life story of Michael Zigaris, Z-Man, Billy Bob, he doesn't even have to act.
What a great picture.
Billy Bob being Michael Zigaris. Unbelievable.
That is an amazing. So I get this. It's funny that you bring that up. A lawyer friend calls me on, I don't know, all the days run together when you don't have to go anywhere. But on Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, a good friend of mine who's a lawyer calls me up and she says, I saw Greg Papa at the Tony Lewis event, her company or her firm. She's a part of this firm, and they donate a lot and they work with Tony a lot. And she said, well, I saw Greg Papa there. And I said, well, why didn't you go up to him? And she said, well, he looked like he was talking to a lot of people. I said, he's the most approachable guy when he's drinking that you could ever go up to. So I said,
what does that mean? When I'm not drinking, I'm not.
Well, when you're not drinking, it's kind of like he might be busy and he might be looking at some sports stuff, or he might want to back off.
One of my 3 iPads. By the way, I'm going to try something technologically weird here. So my one iPad never can carry juice, the big one that I'm on now. It's down to 5%. If I switch to the other smaller iPad in midstream, can you pop me up on that one?
Actually I can. I can see you. See, I've got a green room here.
Over here.
Watch this.
How do you switch it?
Just flip to the other one and I'll
camera 2.
Yeah, watch this. Yeah, this is going to be exciting. Watch this. I'm going to remove you. And look at that. Yeah, I hold on a second. I'm getting the feedback here. Let me take you off. I'm going to take you. There you go. Look at that. Look how good.
I can't hear you. Hold on.
You can't hear me?
I can't hear you.
Hang on. Your mic is on. Look at
John?
We had this thing going so well.
Hold on.
We'll get you back.
But I got 3. I got one here. I got one here. These are all the ones I lost in New York before the Super Bowl. I got them all back.
But I tell you, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I got you.
Okay. Most people would have just gone under a rock. You did not. It was amazing. Let me throw a couple of more out here. I got a couple of good things. You just tell me when you got to go, because I'm not any kind of schedule whatsoever.
59.
Let's see. Oh, I told this story here.
To wait for John's show notes to tell us what was going on. Now I have no idea. I do the same thing. Here, this is a great one. Send them to me anyway, even though you're not on. I need them.
So I was telling this story the other day to people that when we went to a family room during training camp and all the guys would come over, but I told them a story the other day. The toddler room. So we would do that every year, but for a couple of years they would put us in the room next to the draft. So the room adjacent to the draft room.
The John McVay draft room?
Yeah. And they would just have guys come up there for us. And I was telling the story the other day that Jimmy Garoppolo came out, like every guy would come off the field and they look terrible and they're sweating and their face is red and everything. And we had video set up. And back in that day, they didn't do as much, but Jimmy's coming upstairs. So, of course they do. And this is one of the funniest things because it was like Jimmy takes his helmet off in the room and it's like this Italian skin is sun-kissed and he's not sweating and his hair is perfect. And so I moved across the room so I could get away from him. I didn't want to sit by him. And so this is that picture. That's me, me and you. And look, I got out of the video because that's Jimmy right off the practice field. And I was like, everybody else comes upstairs and they got a red face and they look like they're going to die. And that's Jimmy off the practice field, just takes his helmet off, takes his pads off, and he looks like he's a supermodel. And I was like, get me out of the picture. So I got myself out of the video there. And there's that's you Jimmy sitting next to Jimmy.
That Jimmy never looked bad. The hair's perfect. He does not.
But I mean, that's off the practice field, Jimmy.
Amazing. And who would have thought? See the behind you were watching the NFL Network.
Yeah.
What did it say? Bill Belichick wired with. Who would have thought that Belichick would have a younger woman than Jimmy Garoppolo all these years later? But Jimmy Garoppolo is incredible. You know what? Even though he's no longer a 49er, John.
Yeah.
He has never quite left me.
Let me see.
When I go to bed every night.
Okay, so I got something for you. I'm glad you brought that up.
He's too tall. Wait a minute.
I can only see his groinal region.
Which part of Jimmy do you want to see?
I can only see his groinal region, to be honest with you. That's all I can see.
Or let me see here. Hold on. I'm coming down lower.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, too tight.
You have a cutout of Jimmy just sitting around?
I do.
So
I
get
sleep
this.
with it every night, Jeff.
You know what's so funny about you doing that? So the other day, Lainey, my lovely wife, as you know,
it's too tight.
Jesus, that thing is gigantic.
Stay over here, Jim.
So Lainey, the other day, we're cleaning out the studio that I'm in, and I said, okay, there it is. Yeah, because we just saw his groin. Wait till you go back and you watch it. I'll send you this.
So
see, that's a good picture.
So I bought him and a Nick Bosa. In the car when I was coming back from practice, Nick Bosa's, he wound up on the highway. I couldn't get him through. So Jimmy, in the car, I couldn't fit it up. It's like
so you decided to keep Jimmy over Nick.
Jimmy's head was out the window.
Seriously.
As I'm driving back from Santa Clara, you can see Jimmy's head flapping a little bit. Look.
Oh my! Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, the head's a little loose.
I almost decapitated Jimmy. So what part of Jimmy do you want to save?
Well, clearly the groinal region is what we were seeing there. We weren't seeing anything but the groin.
Or you want Jimmy Garoppolo glistening? Luckily I saved.
No, but I mean, let me throw that up there one more time. This is off the practice field. It was like, get me away from that guy. I don't want to be in the same picture of that guy.
Yeah,
Jesus.
And he doesn't have helmet head. How do you
nothing.
2 hours in a
just nothing.
So
get this. It's so funny.
Person I've ever been in a room.
No
with.
question.
Man or female or anything. Jimmy Garoppolo's in his day. He's getting a little older now.
Right. He's got the gray going.
Got gray.
But so in the studio here, she said, I just want one thing. And she actually went to an auction, Lainey, and she bought like a $500 framed autograph picture of Jimmy, which I have right here.
So you got Jimmy right next to you.
Yeah, look.
See?
And the thing that's funny about it is I can't here. Let me see. I can't give the damn
right behind you.
I can't give the damn thing away. Like I told that,
what? I'll buy it. I'll buy it. What do you want for it?
Niner fans. No, I said I'll just give it away. Niner fans.
I want it.
Every day, we talk Niners every day. And so I'm like, somebody can just have it and nobody wants it.
Of the 14, 15 years, whatever it was we were together, who do you think we talked about the most of anybody? Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Garoppolo. I mean, we talked about.
If we did top 5, I'd say Curry. I don't know who on the Giants, not as much, maybe Buster or something, but yeah, Jimmy and Steph for sure. Steph would be number one.
Steph, Clay, Dre, and Jimmy.
I mean, Jimmy was probably okay.
Brock's
been pretty strong the last couple of years, but I mean, after Steph, Jimmy. I don't think there's any question. Let's see. I still have some really good ones here. Let me get a couple more up here just because these are great. Costner already showed. That one already showed. That one, Eddie D already got. Jimmy, I just showed. Harlan was always a good one. Let's see. That was you and him. That's Arizona. That's you and him in Arizona, I think. Yeah, that's early in the week.
Just about it. We just had him on the show last week. He's going to do like his 15th consecutive Super Bowl on Westwood One.
He calls it every year, right? You're having a good hair day that day, by the way. It's a good hair
the
day.
headset's going. So the thing about Arizona, was that our least favorite Super Bowl?
Yeah. Other than the only thing that was good about Arizona was they did that the media party out in the desert, which was pretty cool.
With Will Gavin.
Yeah, Will Gavin and the cigars. Remember we had the cigars out there?
The best. Yeah.
That was the only good thing about Arizona. Other than that wasn't a great Super Bowl.
Well, it was just look at the room. You're in a huge, convention center kind of room.
That had to be early in the week.
New York was in this tight ballroom. It felt like a New York hotel.
Yeah.
You open up the door and you're right out the window.
That was a sardine can.
That felt like New York, though, and it's New York. In Arizona, it's set up well, but it's just not the same. And then, look who played in that game just 2 years ago, and they're going to play in the game coming up a week from Sunday. We got to deal with them again.
I was telling that story when we were in New York. They put us up against that wall, and it was Seattle and Denver. And you and I had to stare at a mural of Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson the whole damn week. It was like, come on, man. Like, stop.
Remember that? You had a picture of us and Shannon Sharp. Remember the?
Yes, was that Arizona? That was the first Arizona one, though.
It wasn't in New York.
Yeah, I think we had him in New York too. Oh, maybe I'm confused it with Warren Sapp because Warren Sapp was the first Arizona. That was the first Arizona, not that last one, but that was our first one.
So he comes in, and I know Warren, he and I have an interesting relationship. Was that the day before, the night of?
Yeah.
That he gets arrested? Wasn't it that night?
Yeah, it was that night. So we had him on the show. This is the Arizona Super Bowl, which featured Seattle and New England. The one where, Malcolm Butler knocks the ball away and Browner jams the receiver and all that, a curse. So that was the first Arizona Super Bowl, and that's the one you're talking about. So we had Sapp on like the Friday or something, or the Thursday.
I think it was Wednesday. He got arrested.
Or maybe,
night.
That's right. And then that night he comes on our show, and then you probably prayed to the gods to have him arrested because of prostitution because you guys didn't get along. And then
we're gonna put $10,000 on the table and I'll get naked.
Yeah, that's what did he? What did he do? He didn't pay him or something like that. It's like, dude.
Warren and I actually we constantly fought whenever we were together.
Al fired him in the preseason, right? Like you guys worked together, one game?
So as a Raider player, his first year as a Raider was terrible. He got hurt right away, and I remember him just disrespecting Jim Plunkett, a bunch of people, and I pushed back. The second year, he had a really good year. He was one of those guys that during practice, he just never. George Kittle has a lot of energy during practice, but it's always so. Warren's just like, he can't block me, and he's yelling at everybody. He's always talking. He's like doing play-by-play to me the whole game. I'm like, how do you rush the quarterback like that and never shut the F up? He never shuts up. So we had an interesting relationship. So Al one year, when I was doing radio and TV preseason games, calls me and said, I'm going to hire Sapp to do TV, but you got to control him.
And you're like,
what?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, what are you talking about? I can't control. No one can. Warren Sapp. The only way to control him is to remove his larynx. He's not right. He's not going to be controlled. Look, isn't that what you want? So he hired him. Honestly, he hired him on a Friday. Saturday they have like a Tampa Bay Buccaneers reunion. Right. He goes on there and rips Al up and down. Al fired him by Saturday night. Yeah. It was like at least Lance Kiffin lasted a year plus. I mean, that was like, what was that? So Warren Sapp was classic.
Oh, that was classic. I got a couple of more here, and then we'll hit some other things up. Here is, let's see, I played Dwight. This was cool because I remember this was right before kickoff last year in Vegas, and I loved last year in Vegas except for the result of the game. I thought Vegas did a nice job. But that's you, Tim, and Harlan right there. That's right before kickoff of the Super Bowl last year. That was in Vegas. And that was cool. Because they were in the booth right next to us. So Westwood won the national broadcast on the radio. That's you and Tim getting ready to do the call of the Super Bowl last year in Vegas. And Harlan was in the booth right next to us. So that was pretty cool.
Tim still got the man bun going. Have you seen Tim lately? Tim cut his hair late in the year.
What? He
cut
did?
His hair. I got a picture of it. Let me find it.
Hold on. Let me get this off the screen then if that's happening.
The hair from the day of the NFC Championship game in L.A. Jaquaski Tart drop and the 2nd and 1 and the 3rd and 2 stuff. And so he grew his hair from that point.
Said he wasn't going to cut it, right?
For years. And then when the Niners, the thing was he was going to grow his hair out until we partied with Lombardi. And the whole thing was
that was the whole thing. Yeah, I remember.
We were going to have George Kittle cut his hair and do it in the locker room, or maybe at the parade we were going to do it. We had it all planned out for a long time to do it. And they obviously, that day, if we won the Super Bowl. So Tim Ryan, this is your guy now, John. Where is it? Over there. There it is.
Come on.
I come up behind him. Look at the back, by the way.
Did he tell you he was going to do it?
He looks like Travolta. I come up behind him. I got to find pictures of him with the long hair.
Hold on. I got to pull something up here.
And then this is how he looks now. Look at how, he's a good looking man. We did I got to find one from Minnesota. So we did, when we played the Vikings in the preseason, Brock's rookie year, at the end of the broadcast, I said, and he had the big man bun on, and his hair went down to his back.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
I said, let's literally let our hair down. The preseason's over, it's on to the year. So he undoes the man bun, and it was a, what do they call it? A fountain of follicles. And it was like, so remember we had the Tim Ryan, Greg Papa hair off?
Yeah.
On Monday, we did like a competition on the poll. I think I won like 50.1 to 49.9 or something. But yeah. Tim,
that was a great poll.
Yeah.
I might have been our best one.
He's cut his hair though. He looks very distinguished now.
I'm putting up. Hold on, I'm grabbing something here. I'm trying to multitask here because I just found two really good pictures that I got to add to our collection here really quickly. See if I can do this at the same time.
Like an old married couple showing the.
No, I got a great one because this is going to be and basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm getting the pictures up so that we can tell stories. I mean, it's just basically story time, and I'm trying to get these going. But this one is a Miami picture, and I have tons of Miami pictures, but this one will just kind of lead us down a road.
Super Bowl 54.
Yeah, that was I will say that as I looked through those pictures, that was a fun week too. I think it was underrated.
Oh my God. That was the best. That was the Clevelander on the Tuesday.
And you did people don't realize that you were doing TV at night and you were doing our show during the day, and you're trying to, go to practices and do all the stuff you got to do for your actual job with the 49ers. And I mean, it was just
Miami. I'll sleep when I'm dead. So the Tuesday night before the game,
that was an insane week.
KNBR, the whole staff from KNBR was there. And the whole staff from NBC Sports Bay Area was there. And I didn't plan it. I'm not going to send out an invite to come by. It was just, hey, we're all here. Let's drink.
Exactly. That's what it was.
It was Jeff Schwartz, right?
Yep. The former Giants offensive lineman. Yep.
Brought the cigars. And we were at the Clevelander right on South Beach. And I just pulled out the red credit card.
Oh, and
we just hit it. I got some classic pictures even going back then. The funniest thing ever was Devin Fox, who still runs.
She saved your
NBC
butt.
Sports Bay Area. She comes up to me and goes, "There's people charging drinks on your card. We don't know." She's like getting in their face. Who the F are you? Get out. So she's like, "I'm pulling the card." I'm like, "You can't pull the card. John's not done drinking yet."
It was because it was like the Underhill account. It was like, what's going on with the Underhill account?
I'll have the steak martini and the steak martini.
Let's see. Let me throw.
So you have Miami pictures? I want to see.
Yeah. Well, this one's not transferring over, so I'm just going to put this in front of the camera just because this is such a hilarious picture. But this is you. Remember those? Remember those
carts that we drove?
Yeah, those they were the Griffin brothers, and they were playing in Seattle at that time. And you and I were racing these things across the carpet at the Super Bowl at Radio Row, running people over. And so each of us had one like a child.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Because they put us right by the door.
We were all hyped up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah, they that's what they were promoting. And so because we were the flagship of one of the teams that were in the Super Bowl, they put us right by the entrance of Radio Row. And the Griffin brothers were in there when we were racing those things around. A couple more quick ones. What was this phase right here? What's that phase right there? That's 1050, right? Wasn't that 1050?
I didn't know you then. I didn't know.
Yeah, but I do know that that's you got a little devilish look going there. The hair's solid, a little longer. Yeah, and you got the goatee. So that was 1050 days though, right? Was that Raiders Radio? Was that what that was?
It may have been either. How far back? There was a time I did talk radio. You know what that was? I did the noon to 3 or whatever. I did Radnich's slot.
Yeah.
When Gary went to mornings, I did Radnich's, but I only did it. It wound up being for a month because I did it just during the NBA lockout that year. So what was that? The Spurs won the championship that year, my second year in San Antonio. So I think it was probably like January of '99,
right?
Probably. And that was my ode. Everybody, I was doing the A's then, and Mac was gone, right? Mac was already in St. Louis, Mark McGuire.
Yeah.
But everybody in baseball had a goat. So I grew a goatee in honor of the great Jason Giambi, I think. The only time I've ever had facial hair, and I thought what it would be, I hated shaving, and I still do. I don't shave every day anymore. No,
right.
You don't have to anymore. We used to have to wear ties and all that back then.
Right.
Anyway, I just thought, well, if I grow a goatee, what I really liked was a Fu Manchu. In the 70s, those were really cool.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Joe Willie had the Fu, where it was
beard. Joe, his was the best.
For some reason, it didn't look good. So I did the goatee thinking, well, that's just less surface area that I have to shave every day.
Exactly.
It's going to be less time. The reality, look at that. Put that picture back up and how scraggly
I don't know.
Is.
I just had this in my phone randomly.
It's all
scraggly.
Actually, that's kind of not bad lines.
No, plus you got the wavy hair going there.
It got all scraggly. You wind up spending more time shaving because you have to trim around the beard. So
yeah.
This is not what I wanted it for.
He wanted less, not more.
So
and then
I think that's the only time in my life I actually had facial hair.
And then this was your favorite of all time. This one still sits in the park there. That's a good one.
Wow.
That's a really good one there.
Dwayne Kuiper loves that one. You are so mean.
That's the one from. That's the one that's right. Is that still at Oracle Park? That picture.
The wall of all the announcers. And
jeez.
So you go back to the one in '99. That was pre-hair product days.
This is.
And I don't think. Maybe not. I don't know.
You got something in there.
Hair in fact, people, contrary to what you said every day on the show, I was not this generation's Joe Pepitone. I did not use a blow dryer ever.
Really?
I didn't know how to use one. I wanted to get in and out. I did you know how I am. I'm doing 3 days.
Right.
I'm not going to blow. I don't think I didn't know how to do it. I didn't like it. It looked too poofy.
Right.
I remember my brother got a perm one year, and I was like, oh, dude, what are you doing? I'm not doing that. So we didn't have hair products. We didn't have, what was the one back in the day? A little dab will do ya.
Oh yeah. Brill cream.
The green stuff. I mean,
the Brill cream.
Like plaster and everything.
Yeah, that's no good.
I didn't know how to use hair product at all. So the picture that Kipe loves, he takes a picture of. I saw Kipe the other day.
He's the best.
He loves it. So I think
he loves it.
My first foray into hair product, hair gel, and I effed it up. It's just,
every time I walk in there, because that's right next to their booth at Oracle Park. I just walk by it and laugh, and I show
how many times I've tried to grab it off the wall.
Oh, I know.
And I thought,
that's your least favorite picture.
I think it was like David Glass's picture or something.
Oh, so I got lots more. We don't have time to do all of them. The one is, and this will lead us into an actual sports conversation, and this was a cool one. So this picture it's at training camp, and this is, I think, before the 2019 season, because obviously they go to the Super Bowl that year, but we had taken a picture, you and I, of the trophies, and that was training camps behind us there. So we're right up the stairs, and we actually, as I said, where we showed Jimmy looking so good after camp. So there's stairs behind us, and then you walk straight, and there's the room where we used to broadcast from during training camp. And you would always go, can't we just broadcast from the field?
For the Raiders, we did.
You would run down during breaks, and you'd watch training camp, and then whoever our producer was at the time would yell out you on the field, "Hey, we're coming back!" And come back.
Don't you think? I think that was my first year doing the Niners game.
That's 2019 right there. Yeah, that's 2019.
Training camp practice. It may be helpful for me.
Yeah,
and we did our Raiders shows from Napa during.
They were great.
We were literally on the field watching practice.
Yeah, that was great. They would literally put us in this little thing with a small little white picket fence in front of us, and we could sit there and watch everything. And then they put us in a corner. I remember we had that punter on one time. I can't remember his name, and the players would walk right by us, so we'd get tons of guys on with the Raiders. So that was really cool. It wasn't Leckler, it was after Leckler. They had a funny punter.
Marquette King.
Yeah, that guy. We had Marquette King on, and he was always really wanting to come on, and he was funny. But yeah, they wouldn't. The Niners didn't do that, but that was right before That was 2019. So that was before you would broadcast your first game as the voice of the Niners.
So when are they going to get that 6th Lombardi?
So that's why I brought it up. So there's a trip down memory lane, which is what I wanted to basically do today and do that.
So good.
But in terms of, okay, what they've done this offseason, your thoughts. So they bring in a new DC, they bring in a new special teams guy. Looks like Clay Kubiak may be the offensive coordinator there. They've made a lot of moves. So I haven't asked, I haven't talked to you even off the air about this.
Well,
what do you think?
I mean, you were with me when Salah we had Salah on the show a bunch of times when
he was great to us when he was with the Jets. And, he was cool.
Yeah, he actually the first week, I don't know if I told you the story, the first season opener, he had somebody at Florham Park, the Jets facility, listen to our show every day, 4 hours a day, to hear what we were saying, because he knew he told Kyle, I knew you guys were going to run the ball, but after I heard Papa's show, I knew you were going to run the ball. I'm like, you knew you were going to run the ball because you can't stop the run.
Right.
And it didn't help you because we didn't have Christian McCaffrey that night, and JP Mason still ran all over you. So anyway, as soon as Salah got let go in New York, I think that's the first thing you and I talked about the next day is when's he coming back. And Tim Ryan and Salah are best friends. They still are.
They're still tight to this day,
all the time. I was, when he went to Green Bay in the season as an offensive consultant to Matt LaFleur, it was like, what's he doing that for? They paid him like $50,000, and it expired. But anyway, when he was fully available and their season ended and he was up for some head coaching jobs, I thought, is he going to get hired in Jacksonville or Raiders, Dallas? I'm not sure I'd hired him this cycle. Anyway, he was the natural fit to bring back in so many ways. The scheme, being with Kyle from the inception of this, being able to stand up and tell Kyle, no, we don't want to do it that way. We're going to do it this way. And just, you want as many great minds in there to think tank. And then if you're to ask the guys in the locker room, who do you want to be your DC, Fred Warner? Who do you think he would say?
Absolutely.
100%. And then Nick, and then, Dre Greenlaw, Robert raised all these guys. He was there when they drafted Warner and Nick and Dre, and he raised them all. So anyway, it's a natural fit. I think Bobby Slowick is a name that, has he been hired by anybody?
No.
How odd that he got fired in Houston. I mean, that guy was up for head coaching jobs. And their season, they slid back a little bit, but they won their division again. They won a playoff game again. They basically were the same as they were last year. I know the quarterback's numbers were down a little bit, but what happened there? Well, that's a good football coach who was on Kyle's staff before. Is there a way to bring Bobby Slowick back? I don't know. I think all the coordinator jobs are just about done. Kellen Moore is going to be the head coach in New Orleans, so I guess he can bring him there. That's the last one. That's the last one. So I'd like to see Bobby Slowick come back. But, with Clay, he's sharp, whether they could do it like they did with LaFleur and McDaniel and Coet, have two offensive coordinators and give them something else. Anyway, and then Brant Boyer's the special teams coordinator. I don't know him personally. I reached out to a lot of
Did you hear what McAfee said about him? I mean, he just raved and raved and raved.
Yeah.
He thinks
the
he's
guy
going to
that
be
I
great.
wanted was Bones Fossil. I think that would have been.
I mean, you both. What did that? I've never gotten an answer to this. So he's out in Dallas, obviously, with McCarthy's group, and then all of a sudden he goes to Tennessee. Was there ever a call made, as far as you knew?
No. So his agent is Bob Lamont, and I checked in with him right away. And I don't think the Niners reached out to him. Maybe they did, but it never got beyond the what's up stage. And then he went to Tennessee that Friday, interviewed with those people, and wound up, I think, by Sunday agreeing to the job. He's probably a little too out there. I mean, Bones is. I think he'd be great with Jake Moody, just the energy. I mean, he's up with people. He's running stairs before the game. He's got the wristbands on, like, during practice, like Dusty, and during the game. And he's got the whistle, and he's energy. But he's also a very positive guy. He's just you're going to make that next kick. Let's go. It's not the guy that's going to yell at you if you miss it. So I thought he'd be good for a lot of reasons, but I don't think they ever went there. I don't know Boyer at all. I did get a scouting report from him, from people in New York, and even Bones Fossil said, how good he thought he was, how sound his teams were. And I think the key thing there is Salah knows him. Obviously he was with the Jets for two prior head coaches, but he was with Salah most recently. And defense and special teams are most closely aligned based on personnel and game management. Offense, defense, special teams all go together, but it made sense. So I'm looking forward to meeting him. But Now we just got to go into the off season and see what they want to do before. We're going to the combine for the first time ever. We're not going to the Super Bowl with a show. I've never been. I used to live in Indianapolis,
right?
As when I first got out of college, my first couple
You
of years.
hung out at the Angry Beaver.
I know a lot of Angry Beavers in there, and I actually been to that bar a few times. So, wow, why'd you remind me of that? You got to make this trip. Come to the combine with me. Anyway,
you and I. Well, no, I mean you'll go to St. Right. You'll go to St. Elmo's. You'll have some.
I went to St. Elmo's like once when I lived there.
You were a big fan.
Elmo's, the big open room feels like you're in New York. So.
No, what? You and I talked about it for years. I mean, the Super Bowl was great and we had a lot of fun, but especially with the Niners picking 11th, I think it's a huge thing. And what I've been saying over the last number of days that we're kind of starting to delve into this thing is there's a lot of good defensive linemen. I think that, the Niners aren't a team with Chris Forster that are maybe going to go O-line like a lot of the early projections are saying. But there's a lot of good interior D linemen in this draft. And so what I'm seeing early is maybe that's the direction. They're not going to lock in, but, 11, they could get a really good interior defensive line.
Here's the other side of it. And you always bring this up every single year. Quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of great quarterbacks. Last year, you had Caleb, you had Jaden Daniels, you had Drake. And later on, you could get Michael Penix or Bo Nix. I mean, there were good quarterbacks that went off the board early. What was it, 6 in the first 12 or whatever it was?
It was a good QB draft.
And then J.J. McCarthy, they were all solid. I don't know. I haven't watched enough. I'll start watching after the Super Bowl. But quarterbacks do go artificially high. And like this Tennessee with their new general manager coming from Kansas City. Does he take a quarterback number 1? I mean, look at the top 3 picks in the draft, John. It could go 1, 2, 3, but I don't know if are there 3 first-round quarterbacks this year? So then you get into that game where they overreach for quarterbacks, and now some really good players may fall into the Niners' lap at 11. Or if a quarterback's out there, like this year's version of Bo Nix, someone wants to trade up and take that player at 11. I could see John trading back, and can you get in the back end and maybe take a couple of ones there and not just the 11th pick?
Well, and I was trying to scroll here to find a picture. We had the Deion Sanders picture back in the New York Super Bowl, but I don't want to be in the Shadur business. I don't like Shadur Sanders. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a good kid. He's driving around a Rolls Royce Ghost on campus. And Cam Ward played at Washington State for a number of years, and I don't remember anybody ever saying he was going to be the first pick in the draft. So I don't like any of the quarterbacks, but I'm with you. Hopefully somebody gets desperate enough because they're going to be gone in the top 3. I don't think Tennessee should take one, but they probably will.
You think they're going to go 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks?
Well, I think that they'll probably go 1 and 3 and maybe 2 trades. I don't think Cleveland's going to take one, but at 3, the Giants probably will. And at 1, the Tennessee probably will. So I think those 2 will be gone in the first 3. And then, like you said, if somebody emerges from the group of quarterbacks, maybe someone will, artificially move up, and then they're sitting there at 11 and they say, hey, because you're right. I'd love it if the Niners could trade down, still get – this is a deep D-line class, get a couple of those guys, get some extra picks. I mean, I think that would be the way to go.
There's no question. They got to rebuild the line. When this team started winning 19 with Bosa, they got D Ford, they had Armstead and Buckner inside. You're a long way away from that kind of D-line. I mean, the end of the year last year, the Niners just got trampled. Yeah. They've got to, as Tim calls them, war daddies. Do you bring Hargrave back? They're going to release someone when the new league year starts. Maybe go somewhere else. But he's more of a pocket pusher than he is a run player. You need both. But I think, DJ Jones, somebody you always talked about. He's free agent. Go get him.
That wouldn't be bad.
Kevin Givens. Evan Anderson had a good year last year. Collins and Elliott are guys that can play in the rotation, whether they're alphas or Bravos, I don't know. They probably neither one should be in the turbo. Maybe Collins in the turbo, but really, you need more of them. This team's identity when Bosa got here was the gold rush, and it's not been that. By the way, did you watch the Pro Bowl skills competition last night of the Bosa brothers?
No, but I was going to ask you about it.
Waddle. They were supposed to sprint, and it was a relay.
Yeah.
They put the Bosas up against each other, and they do the Dave Waddle fast walk. It's like, what are they doing?
What are they doing? Just throwing stuff against the.
No, it's so hilarious the way they did it. It was so funny. You got to watch. I love the Pro Bowl.
I know you do that. You know what's funny is I almost watched it last night because I knew I was going to talk to it, and I thought if I don't watch that stuff, I know he's going to bring it up, and I'm just like, oh man,
it's not even that. And George was funny. They had a spike competition on touchdown spikes after, and it's ridiculous. But Jared Goff can throw the football.
Oh yeah,
he was amazing.
There's no doubt.
Anyway, and then we had the East-West Shrine Bowl last night. My guy from Syracuse played quarterback, and we'll watch the Senior Bowl on Saturday. I know John and the staff are in Mobile, so.
Yeah,
you got to come to the combine with me, brother. I can't.
I wouldn't mind doing. That's something. That's something I wouldn't mind doing for sure. I don't know if I told you this, but so we're not going to be at the Super Bowl, but I have a correspondent next week, and if you want to use him, you're more than happy to. I'm his agent.
There?
Yeah, so George is going. He got a gig at the going back east, and he's going to go to the Cape Cod League and write and all that stuff. So he got a gig there and do play-by-play. And then this week he's leaving on Sunday to go to New Orleans. And of course, you and I have been to about 15 straight Super Bowls together, and he's actually going to go there. So he's going to be there with Arizona State. And so I said, well, you gotta be our correspondent. So there you go. By the way, so I got a whole chat line in front of me. People are loving that you're here. Best 49ers play-by-play since Lon Simmons.
Wow.
Guy says, forgot you were the voice of the Spurs back then. People forget all this stuff. But, yeah, we're getting a lot of great love for you, man. So it's very cool. Very cool to see you. Let's see what else.
Send me those pictures. All right, now that we've shown them, can we?
I got something that you can't show.
That file? Can we just I want them all.
I got a lot. Let me see what I got here. I got a lot that
Brown. I want that eliminated. I want a bunch of those.
You know what? Now that you mentioned frown on the Brown, just so that people know what we're talking about, if I called Chris Townsend right now, because that's his picture when I call him.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can pop this up. Yeah, I do. Look at this. You're gonna laugh at this.
The picture of the actual bar.
The
guy in the street.
The guy in the street. That's been his picture when he calls me. Oh, geez, I shouldn't show his number probably. Oh, no, it doesn't come up. That's been his picture for, I don't know, when was that Super Bowl? 2012, 2011? So like 14 years, and the guy's holding the signs, don't frown on the Browns, standing outside that bar.
Remember what happened at the very end of that night? So I bought John a present at the end of the night. What was her name? What was her name? Tiffany or Angel or Bambi?
Man.
And John ran. John's 40 time was, I think you broke Xavier Worthy. I think he went 4-2 flat. And she's like, what? He doesn't like me? I was like, oh.
I just remember a Cadillac coming around the corner going, hey, walking with these ladies ain't free.
It was Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, he was like
kidding.
We're like, we're not even doing anything. He's like, doesn't matter.
Kidding.
Time is literally money. So you will someone here, and we don't take checks.
$300 an hour. I said, go make my bed.
Just to walk. It was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. That was unbelievable.
She said $300. I'll do whatever you want. I said,
exactly. No, that's the only thing is it's good talking to you today because God, we did so many of those Super Bowls and they start
away.
Oh, geez, I was like, I gotta go. The worst part, and that's why I gotta get low on next week at some point because the worst part of that Super Bowl was, and Alyssa Milano saved us, was that Saturday because Jason Barrett, who's the overseer of the industry now, it decides that because he sends us to the Super Bowl, we got to work on Saturday too. And I'm hungover. Oh, it was terrible. And Lowe had laryngitis, and we're on Radio Row. There's no one there. My head's pounding. He's got laryngitis, and here comes the angel it is.
And he's giving Alyssa Milano the hey baby.
Oh, the Low on Love.
Remember me as a lead blocker?
Yeah, he did Low on Love for her. So
we could tell Low stories for 10 minutes.
Oh my God,
Let's get crazy.
Oh,
we could tell all the championship Sunday parties. Oh my God.
You know what's funny about it is I live right around the corner. It's shut down now from that Buffalo Wild Wings we used to go to, where Kondo got kicked out or his wife depending.
Kondo's wife.
Well, that was because we followed. It was either tequila and then Jameson's, but Jameson's and tequila, whatever it was. But we were doing them back to back.
And fireballs.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So Kondo came one year. It was all great. And then at the end, he got a little overserved. So they threw him out.
I love that term.
Next year, his wife called, I'm going to let John go, but only I'm going to come and supervise.
Right, exactly. That was worse.
She got kicked out.
Yeah, she was even worse.
You guys are made for each other.
I got one story for him. I'll let you because you got to go. It's 9:22, and I got to let you go here. But I have carried over one tradition here. Let me see if I got the open for it. And I kind of here we go. I got one tradition. I'm going to show you something because people went crazy over this the other day. So I got to play. Everyone's in the text room here is sitting there going, "You got to show Papa this. You got to show Papa this." So I'm going to play an open here. You might remember.
Brings you the caboose pistol.
A female officer noticed the handle of a revolver sticking out from inside the woman.
What is the caboose pistol?
Did you say caboose pistol? The old caboose pistol. Everybody has one.
What better way to end the show than with a "what the fuck was that"?
Oh, you can't say that.
What?
Say that.
I know some woman who could hide a machine gun in there.
So do I.
I'm sorry, we're getting off track.
Just
All right.
take it away, Lund, and leave me out of this, you weirdo.
I'm just reporting the news. I'm not a weirdo. I'm just reporting the news. So this was the other day, and we got into this whole thing. There was actually a news story. Hopefully I kept the news story on this whole thing. Let's see. Oh, I took the video away, but let me show you this. You're going to get a kick out of this. Because when I played this the other day, the news reporter lady was like blushing and all this kind of stuff. This guy's got a 9.5 centimeter tongue, which is the largest. It's a Guinness Book of World Record.
Simmons?
Look at that thing.
Oh, wow.
Look at that thing.
That's not a tongue.
Yeah, that's real. I looked it up.
That's a
Byron
human heart.
Schlenker says has a tongue 9.5 centimeters wide. Considered the man with the world's widest tongue. Look at the smile on his wife's face.
Wow.
She's got a big smile on her face there.
Little
So
lady.
we did that the other day. Look at that tongue.
What's
True
his
story.
nickname, Buster?
Because, well, what happened was I got a video of it because I didn't believe it. I thought it was photoshopped. And so I was like, this can't be right. And
Well, his is wide, but Gene Simmons is long.
yeah, long. So I don't know which one you would want. I remember seeing
Well,
Gene Simmons at a Raiders game. Remember him and Shannon Tweed, and
Yeah,
Gene
she
did the
anthem. Didn't
he
she?
did the
She
anthem. And I don't think I have time to pull this video up because you got places to go, people
Then
to
you got-
see. So
You got Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas.
oh
is
yeah,
on
that's
it.
that's right.
He has good activity.
Was that
with
Catherine
that.
Zeta
You
and
know
that
what you
whole
got to do? You
thing?
got to put that guy up with a side by side with Catalangas. Catalangas.
I do, as a matter of fact. Let me see here. I probably have that. But anyway, yeah, I do have the video, but I won't bore you with it. But let me see here. I do have did I pop that up? Yeah, I did that a little bit earlier. There you go. That's one of our best ones. That's outstanding. That's one of our best ones that we ever did. But
Christopher Walken.
yes, very good. I don't know if you saw the other day. Will Smith was on with Jimmy Fallon the other night, and he told the story of running into Walken at a like an Italian restaurant, and he said, "That's all anyone does is come up to me. I was having an Italian meal," and he says all the waiters and everything just come up to him and say, more cowbell, and he's like, "I'm this accomplished actor, and that's all I get."
Uncomfortable piece of metal up
Up my ass. I almost put that in the pictures today just to bring it up.
Who was the guy we had at the old place that did Al Davis as Christopher Walken?
Drew Hoffer. Drew Hoffer.
We love Hoffer. Is he still out there?
He did the best. It was Al Davis, Christopher Walken, Al Davis, and he would
put
say
them together.
Yeah,
It's
just win, baby. I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, I can't even come close to doing it like he did it. I mean, it was just outstanding. All right, man. Look, I know you got stuff to do, people to see, places to go. I got tons of different pictures. I'll send you some good ones that we couldn't play on or couldn't show even on this show, which really there are no parameters on this show, but still, I try to keep it, a little bit on the up and up. But I appreciate your time. How's everything else? Everything else
is
good?
good. Speaking of Al Davis, I'm working with a guy, Joey's out there in the Bay Area, that's making a doc on Al Davis. And look, and
Really?
maybe not show this. What do you think of that?
Oh my gosh. Who's playing Al?
Adam Sandler.
What?
Adam
Are you
Sandler.
serious?
Like that? Yeah, I probably shouldn't. He's going to get mad at me, so I'm going to take it down.
When did you start caring if people got mad at you?
I don't.
Wow.
Well, I don't want to blow up the Al doc. So
I got you.
So anyway, you're talking about Christopher Walken and Al.
Yeah.
Is that we got to get Adam
Wow.
new glasses?
So
We gotta
when
get Adam
I'm not asking you like exactly when, but like when, like is there a,
it's in production now.
so it's in production?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Well, we don't want to
Okay.
jinx it. So we'll make
Yeah. Okay. I totally understand
anyway.
that. That's really good. I'm just
So I
making
showed
sure
you a
I don't
couple
have
of pictures
anything
in my
else.
phone. Now I want all those pictures.
Oh, I got it.
sent
The
back digitally.
the thing that makes me mad is I couldn't find. I have all these different places that I keep stuff, and I couldn't find the majority of the New Orleans ones. So I gotta go back and find those. But that was a good trip down.
The New Orleans one.
Oh, that was outstanding. Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good trip down memory lane. We had some good ones.
And we stayed over after they lost the game and did the show from Radio Row the next day.
The Monday. Yeah, that was terrible. Well, we had to do that last year.
Back to New Orleans. They have not had a Super Bowl there since Super Bowl 47. You know, we had on the show last week getting ready for the Bills championship game with Steve Tasker.
Did you really?
Remember when the lights went out in the old dome in New Orleans?
And they just said, "Here you go, Steve. Good luck." I felt so bad for that guy.
He did.
We're sitting in there. It was unbelievable.
Great.
Oh,
how long was the power outage during that game?
20 minutes. I mean, it was pretty long.
Long time.
I just remember it, and again, you got to go. There was a couple of things. One, we went to the Super Bowl. We went to the media day when they used to have the regular media day, not the Monday night thing. And Chris Berman was just sweating profusely, like he had just been out way too late. And then I remember they put the Niners. If people don't remember Super Bowl 47, they put them in the French Quarter, which was insane. And I just remember you going up to Alex Boone going, "Boone, I don't trust you, man. I don't trust you in the French Quarter."
Well, I couldn't. We stayed there. I couldn't sleep. All you hear is horns all night.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
They moved the team out of there.
They did on that Friday. They did on that Friday.
We were in Vegas with the Niners last year.
You guys were
We stayed out in Hendo. We stayed in Henderson. I had to keep going back and forth. So.
That was crazy. That was a good time, though. But
I'm seeing the John Lund Unleashed behind you. Where's the Papa and Lund? Did you?
Yeah, I have a. You know what?
Did you destroy that one, or is that?
No, I haven't. I archive everything. I pack rat everything. I've got all that.
Going night.
I got all that. Let's see. I have it somewhere around here. I have all that stuff.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's good stuff. All right. Like I said, so everything's good. Everybody's
good, right?
Okay. All right.
Everybody's good. I think we may go back. We may my buddy Brownie and all the crew from New York may go to Vegas for the Super Bowl. I don't know if we want to do that. So let me know what you're doing for the game if you want to get together. I mean, we want Philadelphia to win the game just so Kansas City doesn't. It's almost like a lesser evils. I
was having a doctoral procedure yesterday in which a guy was cutting on my ass, and that's why I'm sitting a little strange right now. But
how many colonoscopies do you have, John?
I know it's a million of them.
John and I are so close. A couple of years ago, we had matching colonoscopies
the same day. We didn't even try to. We didn't even try to.
I had Dr. Ripper.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't
Dr.
know if
Sausage
Dr.
Fingers
Ripper going in there, but she's the best. Anyway.
No, he was doing work, and they just want to talk sports all the time. You know how this is. So the guy's working on me. My bare ass as all these nurses are staring at my bare ass yesterday, and they're all. So what do you think of the Super Bowl? I mean, I really hate Philly. I'm like, could you just get the work done, man? I don't want to talk about it. Just get the work done. Anyway, all right, man. Well, great to see you. Tons of great response here. People are loving having you on the show and everything else. Very cool. Very cool. Well, look, man, let's get together soon.
Yeah.
Love seeing your face. I love that you came with the Super Papa today. I love the hat. You look great.
Ask Papa anything. John Lund started that.
It was, people love it. Plus, here's the other thing, too. As far as hats go, you've become a real big hat guy.
Because of the stream.
Yeah, because you got to throw
it every day. 4 hours a day, and
that's heck with that.
I'm running off the treadmill. I had to give up my workout this morning.
Thank you, man.
This one is an honor.
I love that one.
Got it. I'm like, what is this for? This is the Bart Bridge people. This is for Pat Burrell.
That's so incredible. Yeah, we played the machine, didn't we? All right, look, you got to get ready for a show at 10 o'clock.
What do I got to do to get ready? I just did it.
Yeah, you just did. Well, I mean, I'll send you this. I'll send you everything. I'll send you the thing. We'll get back to it. But love you, brother. Good to see you. Haven't seen you forever. Say hello to everybody, and I will talk at you soon. Thanks for making the time for me.
Will live forever.
Absolutely. Love you. We'll talk to you soon. All right, brother. There you go. That is the great, and I do mean great, Greg Papa joining us for the show today. Very cool. What do you think? That was a good time had by all. By the way, lots of people with the stars. I apologize that I didn't get to them. We were laughing so hard. Todd says, let's see, got to do caboose pistol with Papa in the house. Yeah, I should have had a better caboose pistols ready. Hi, Danny Golding. Love the Papa and Lund reunion. Thank you, Danny. Very, very cool. Oh, man, I should have got to John Holmes. Papa would have loved this one. John Holmes says you guys should get back together. We were just back together. But we will be back together again as well. Don't worry. Who knows what happens, but everything is great. Thank you so much to John Holmes, to Danny, to Todd. Thanks to everybody. Tons of different stuff on the line. People loving that kind of stuff. There's Joy right there. Great interview. It's not so much an interview as we've known each other for 15 or so years, and we just, we're just BSing. This is what we would do. I mean, Greg and I used to live right by each other, and we would just go out and hang out. And that's why the show was so great, because there wasn't really interviews. There wasn't really anything other than us just talking. And just like in a relationship that you have, our relationship was just what you saw right there for the last hour and a half is what we did. We just would hang out and laugh and bar talk. I mean, the consultants would always tell you that, look, you just want to make it like you're sitting in a bar, like the two of you are hanging out and you're sitting at a bar. And that's kind of what we did, right? That's what we just did for an hour and a half. And the consultants would say, well, you just talk, you just do sports talk and you're at a bar. And I was like, well, that's what we do anyway, is we would just be sitting around to drink. And so he lived up in Black Hawk. I lived in Walnut Creek at the time, and we would meet for everything. We'd meet for different events and different things. So Super Bowl, when we would do all these different things at the Super Bowl, it just was kind of what we would be normally doing anyway. It wasn't like we were doing anything different. We were just at the Super Bowl, happy to do it. And so that's, let me go back to a couple of things there, because I did some of the media stuff and I was popping through them so fast. So there you go. There's the show cover for today. And I don't know that I did roll call, but I will do roll call in just a second. I know that I'll come up with some more stuff, and I apologize because I told you yesterday that I would come up with a bunch of the stuff from New Orleans, and I still couldn't find those ones. So there you go. Let me just throw a couple of these. That was before Papa's first season, 2019. That's training camp behind us. And as I told you, right in that room, so if you walk forward, right in that room is where we did the show from, and the guys would walk up the stairs, and Papa would run during breaks to watch, and then we'd scream at him to come back to the show. This is, like I said, that's in New England. If you're just joining the show, Papa and I, he was doing the Raiders. That was probably as hungover as I've ever done a show, because the night before, adjacent to Foxborough Stadium, if you look to the left there's all these bars and restaurants, and that's what everybody really wants in terms of a football game. And so that was before we went to jolly old England. So we played the Patriots, the Raiders played the Patriots. And then after that game, we went to this room that was like in the stadium, and we stayed for 3 or 4 hours while they got the plane ready, and all the players got bombed, and we had a great time with that. I showed this a little bit earlier. This was the original. So this was called the Wheelhouse. I don't know if people remember this, but we were noon to 3 on 95.7. And they lured me here to San Francisco, and they said, okay, you're either going to work with Mike Silver or Rick Bucher. And I said, okay, whatever. And then they get me here and they go, we're going to do this rotation, and we're going to call it the Wheelhouse, and it's going to be Greg, and it's going to be Steinmetz, and it's going to be all these different guys. And then finally they said, well, you and Greg, you guys have the best chemistry, so we're going to do that. So that was that one. And then I had a bunch of New York stuff. There's me and Pop and Ronnie Lott. That's 2014, maybe 13, something like that. Aldon, I've told you the Aldon story many a times, but that was when the handler wanted to kill us. But there's Aldon, and that was a good one. And he was cool. He put his hand up like, look, I want to talk about the dumb things that I've done, so don't cut me off. That was Costner. There's Kevin Costner. And as Pop said, that was right before Draft Day came out. And you can see, so we're trying to ask him about Draft Day. Costner's like, I don't want anything to do with Draft Day. I don't want to talk about Draft Day. So he's trying to talk about sports. We're trying to talk about movies. And you can see to the right there, the guy with the black hair, that's what I'm talking about with handlers. And that was in New York. So that was a sardine can. You can see everybody close to us. But Costner, he wanted to keep hanging out because he liked talking sports with us. And so Costner and his handler kept saying, let's go. And Costner was hanging out. That was very, very cool. Champ Kind, that's in New York. So there's Whammy. And we had a good time, that one. This is Wembley Stadium. And that's George Atkinson, the former Raider safety, telling us stories about he went to Amsterdam. Papa went to Paris. I actually decided to do a pub crawl in London that day on the only day we had off there. And that was Dolphins Raiders. And we were laughing, telling stories about where everybody went. And Cliff Branch and George Atkinson went to Amsterdam, and their stories were legendary. And you could see George laughing there, but it was like 3 days. He needed like 3 days to recover from that one. There's Eddie D. That's at Super Bowl 50, of course. My hair is a mess right there. There's Jed and Eddie D. And that was the Friday before Eddie D went into the Hall of Fame. And as Pop said, right over our shoulder there in the middle is the legendary photographer Michael Zagaris is in that picture. So that's a very cool picture from Super Bowl 50 at Moscone Center. This is the one I was telling you about yesterday. This was the Jimmy picture, and I told you I got out of the video. So back in this day, and like I said, so you can see Papa's pink shirt there. It was the same shirt. If I go back up here, so that's the same shirt. So we're outside that day, and then if you walked right inside, the guys would just walk up those stairs. As you can see, we're over training camp. They'd walk right up those stairs, and then so they would be right off the field there. And so that is literally, let me go back up here. Where's Jimmy? That's literally right off the field. And so every other guy that would walk up there would be, sweaty and stinky and look terrible. And it was brutal. Like they look brutal. And then so Jimmy comes walking in, and I told this story the other day on the show. Jimmy comes walking in, sun-kissed. I mean, you look at his hair right there. That's off the field. He had the helmet on, 2.5 hours working out, and unbelievable. And everybody else looks like hell coming off the field, not Jimmy. Jimmy looks like a supermodel, and I'm like, they had me right next to Jimmy on the other side. They're like, well, let's get all you guys in the same, video shot. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm like, I'm going away from Jimmy. Don't video me. I don't even want to be anywhere near close to Jimmy. And that's Jimmy off of the field during training camp. Perfect beard, perfect skin, perfect hair. I'm like, everybody else looks like hell coming off the field. And that also is, I've told you about the draft room that we would always sit in. So right next to that room is the 49ers draft room, the John McVay draft room. And that's where we would be for NFL drafts every single year, which is very cool. And then John and Kai would walk into that room, talk to us about, the draft pick or whatever. Or Kai would walk in and say, we just drafted a kicker and I wanted a running back. That was the room where that happened. Just going back over these, that was Arizona. Like I said, that was early in the week. That's kind of what Radio Row looks like, but that was slow. That was during the week. That was last year right there in Las Vegas. So Tim, Harlan and Papa, that was right before the call. That was literally in the stadium. I took that picture. That was in Las Vegas, and Harlan was in the booth right next to us, calling the game nationally for Westwood One. And then we started everything off because Dwight Clark was our second guest ever on the show back then. Now, this is at the Super Bowl. This is Super Bowl 50, but Dwight Clark was the second guest we ever had, Papa and I, on 95.7. And I'm sure that's Dwight telling a story about dating Miss Universe, but there's the great Dwight Clark in that picture as well. So there's a few of them that I had. I have boatloads more that I should have brought up, but I just wanted to have a little bit of walk down memory lane. So hopefully everybody kind of dug that from today. All right. Episode 46. I never even went through the chalkboard today, and I didn't know exactly what we were going to do, but Papa and Lund, memory lane, pictures, Super Bowls a year ago. And I really didn't get to that because we really don't need to, because a year ago we were getting ready to go to Vegas and thinking we got this one. New Orleans, we got into 49ers offseason. I talked to Greg a little bit about, he is excited about the players that they've got. Tucker and Random is always throughout this whole thing. Tucker is Justin Tucker, by the way. And I think I put that in there. That was just, I only had one serious news story from today. The kicker for maybe I didn't even put it in the stuff today. I don't think I did, actually. The kicker for the Ravens, which is basically a Deshaun Watson story all over again, except it's the kicker of the Ravens. So that was the only serious story I put in there. Oh, the only other story I put in there too, and I forgot to put it on the chalkboard today, I apologize, was Tim Kamakami coming out and saying there are indications that Purdy and the 49ers both are feeling there won't be fireworks leading up to a long-term deal. I'm hearing the framework might be a little different than recent big QB agreements, which could take time to hash out. So rather than going into that today, because we just had a bunch of fun with Pop and everything like that, let's save that for tomorrow morning's show. We'll get into some sports tomorrow. I hope I didn't let you down in not doing that. I wanted to have fun with Greg today. So we'll do that tomorrow. We'll get more information on that Saturday thing. And we'll do that more tomorrow and get into the party thing. Because I have heard some things on that and I want to get into it with you, but not today. Let's do that tomorrow. 10 a.m. tomorrow, of course, we'll be on the show and we'll make sure that we do that. What else do we have today? Anything else? How did you like it? I think I approached that right? Have a bunch of fun and have everybody have a little bit of fun with that. So yeah, the young Lund thing, I don't think I look so hot in any of those pictures, but then again, I'll probably look back at these and say, yeah, I don't look so good either. I mean, it's kind of how it is. Hi, Vernon. Good to see you, my friend. Sorry I didn't get back to everybody. Pop was on right at the top of the show, and and we got into things and started laughing and calling. And yeah, Chronicle Live, I was on. In fact, I have a bunch of old pictures of Chronicle Live that will pop up as well. That Pop and I did Chronicle Live together, but he did it for years and years and years. I am hearing some rumors this morning just based on what you just said. I don't know what's going on in the radio world right now. It's the firings for all money moves. Yeah, I mean, they all are. I mean, they are. All the moves are financially motivated, because just to give you a little bit without doing too much, because look, I love all the guys that are doing it. Anybody who works in the industry of radio or media, whatever, I got a ton of respect for them, because you're basically walking on this tightrope that, I did for 27 years and never got released. Our Pop and I's numbers were great. We had great numbers that had nothing to do with numbers. It had everything to do with finances. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know, because that's just kind of what it is. Is Tolbert doing YouTube? Can't find it. I will tell you as much as I can tell you. It's going to be soon. He's not doing it quite yet today. It'll be next week. Think next week, and I will update you on what's going on there. But senior softball games, and Steve, next week at some point, you will see Mr. T. I can tell you that. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say that, but there, I just did. Let's see. We'll try to make something on the regular there. There are certain people who probably don't want us to do something on the regular, but we'll see what we'll do. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, Pop and I are always good friends. We always will be. Yeah, we just kind of hung out. That's kind of what we did. I don't disagree with you on that. I agree. Good to see you, Avatar. We'll see what we can do. We're working on some things. I can tell you that. We'll get him. I love Pop to death. He is not the most technologically advanced, but we'll get him a better microphone next time. I would agree with that, but we'll get it going. We'll get it going. Don't worry about it. He's the best. Let's see. What else do we got? Yeah, we had a good time, man. We've been talking about it for days, and I just didn't want to get him in any kind of trouble. And, I didn't come on the first day or any of that kind of stuff. I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to make sure that they had that. Yeah, colon talk. I tried to stay away from that as much as I possibly could. I'll just tell you this, Enrique. I didn't have a procedure, and it had nothing to do with a few years ago I had a procedure because I had cancer, but I don't now. And it's all good. But yeah, they were doing something there, and they're just the doc, your butt's hanging out, and the doc's doing work, and the nurses are just sitting there, and they're just talking to you about football. Like, what do you think's going to happen? Or, it's like, just do the work. What do you mean? Come on. Let's see. What else do we have? What else? That was a good time, man. Angry Braver is actually a bar in Indianapolis. That's why I brought it up. It is actually a bar in Indianapolis. The St. Elmo's is great. I know Pop says it's not a great. They're known for their shrimp cocktail and their steaks. Absolutely great spot. If you ever go to Indianapolis, it's kind of a place you have to go to. St. Elmo's more than the Big Angry Beaver. That place is a bar, and it is absolutely true. Let's see. Yeah, Goatee Greg. Had you seen that picture before? Goatee Greg. Showed Goatee Greg for you. What else do we have today? Hey, mofos. Somebody knows something behind the scenes there. All right. Yeah, I am hearing some radio news today. I don't know anything of it, but I'm sure we'll get into it. Good time had by all today. By the way, Derek, who I don't know if Derek's still around. I was going to bring up Malcolm the Dolphin, but again, I got to save some stuff. I think that that we'll do this again. I don't know when, but I could have brought some more Caboose Pistol. I was thinking of that I could have brought Danny My Anus to the table, or Dolly the Dolphin, or something like that. Somebody in the middle of the show was like, yeah, you got to have some, you got to have hot nuts there. And I dropped the ball on that. I definitely should have brought some hot nuts in today. I just brought up a lot of pictures and things like that, but yeah, I should have brought hot nuts to it. I probably should have brought the Dolly the Dolphin story back for, or at least Dan and My Anus or something like that. But there'll be more times. Anyway, there you go. All right. Hopefully everybody had a great time today. I thought that was a good time. I knew that we kind of had to wait a little bit to put Greg on the show, but it was very cool. It was very cool to see him again. We stay in touch, but hopefully you saw that, there's a reason why we had chemistry for all those years. And it doesn't, it's like any relationship. It's not accidental, and you either have it or you don't. again, thank you so much, Todd. I will do better next time when he's in the house. I should have done a better caboose pistol if I dropped the ball in any way, shape, or form. That was it. Danny Golding TV, one of my favorites. Love the Papa and Lund reunion. I loved it too. We'll do it again. And then there's one of our guys. That's our good friend John Holmes. You guys should get back together. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You never know what happens down the road. Like I told you, I never burn bridges in this industry because I just don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And I've heard today that there's more stuff happening. So we'll see what exactly is going on. But anyway, hopefully that was awesome. Good to see everybody today. I didn't do my normal roll call, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to get through as many comments as I possibly could this morning. I had a great time. I hope you had a great time in watching the show today as well. So here's what's going on. Remember, johnlundunleashed.com. Just go to the website. If you missed any of today's show and the interview, or not even the interview, just the BS that we did with Greg today, then what we'll do is I'll not only pop up the whole show, but then I'll do that as a separate just interview, and then I'll cut up some clips as well. JohnLundUnleashed.com. I archive everything there from podcast, Apple, Spotify, etc. We do, obviously, the show, the YouTube show, if you're watching on X and Instagram as well. Thank you so much. X and Instagram, I'm at John Lund Radio. On YouTube, it's John Lund Unleashed Pod. Don't mean to make it confusing, but we put it all together at johnlundunleashed.com. So make sure that you check that out. We will be back tomorrow for a 10 a.m. show, as we do, 10 a.m. Pacific. So Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Pacific, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Pacific. And then throughout the day, we do the story of the day, which I not only do a video for, but then I post a story with that. And by the way, let me do this. I don't want to leave you all, but let me do this real quick. I'm going to share my screen with you, which I have not done today. Let me see here. Oh, there it is. So yesterday, if you want to check this out on the website, the only Jimmy Butler Warriors should be interested in is free Jimmy Butler. And so I went through and wrote a piece on Jimmy Butler, and also, as you can see there, and I got the video that goes along with it. So check that out. That was yesterday's story of the day. You can check that out. And as I click on this very quickly, come on, meet your host. Meet your host. Do. That's not very good Jetsons. YouTube shows, Unleashed podcasts, Unleashed blog posts, and more. So you can check that out on the website. Let's see. We can go away from that for a second. And anything else that people wanted to get out of their off their minds on a Friday. We will be back tomorrow. And I hope you enjoyed having Pop on the show, and we'll try to make that happen as much as we legally can. What else do we have? I had a groin surgery from a pretty doctor. Let me see this. This is interesting to me. She asked if I was up. How can I tell her I had the hospital? Yeah, that's really difficult. The only thing you're thinking, as I was standing, and again, I'm buck naked from the waist down, which is probably a bad visual for breakfast. But yesterday I'm laying there, and they're doing this little surgical thing, and and the nurses are there or whatever, and he's just talking to me. The doc's talking to me about football and who I think is going to win the Super Bowl, and he's a big sports guy, and it was just, I guess it was nice because it did kind of pass the time, so I think that's a good thing. But no, it was nothing related to my cancer or anything like that. There's no problems. It's just I am having trouble sitting here. That was just about it. But yeah, so that's all. It's just, but I'm okay. I would sit here as long as you possibly need to. Is that holy hell? Just because? Yeah, I'm probably sharing too much today, so I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to get you. Let's see. Don't we all, Steve? Don't we all? I'm trying to fight it, but man, I'll tell you. Let's see. Hi, Tacky. Good to see you. Yeah, go back and listen to front of the show. Plus, I will make sure that I archive this not only in a video sense. I'll just do this separately. So what I'll do is I'll put the show up, and then I'll do the interview, put that aside. And then, of course, as we always do, we'll do the podcast, which is Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast, John Lund Unleashed Pod. And we put that one up as well. So I'll make sure that I do that. And again, anything and everything at johnlundunleashed.com. Anything else from anybody today? Do remember, Dry January ends today. So if you did, great point there. Baba booey, baba booey. Dry January ends today. So congratulations to all. If you did Dry January, good job. I don't, a lot of people have come out and said, yeah, why are you doing it? Hey, do what works for you. It's kind of like what we talked about the other day. We were talking about food, not to go down this thing, but pineapple on pizza. And if people like bacon on their maple bars, and I don't do whatever. Do you, man? So if you want to do dry January, do dry January. Do whatever you want. I mean, that's just kind of how I look at things. So if you made it through dry January, congratulations. You have one more Friday night to get through because February 1st tomorrow. So anyway, very cool. All right, Antonio, good to see you, my friend. Joe, Pine Needle, everybody, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for making today a lot of fun to have Greg Papa back. Very, very cool. Kyle, good to see you, my friend. Thanks to those who contributed again today. I really appreciate it. Todd, Danny, John Holmes, Todd K, Danny Golding TV, and John Holmes. Thanks, guys, for contributing. Much appreciated. Let's reconvene tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you can't make it, I understand. I'm a lot to take 6 days a week. I completely understand that. We'll get deeper into some of these things. I mean, Papa and Lund thing, we just wanted to kind of have some fun today and go down memory lane. So some of the Brock stuff, the kicker for the Ravens, all that kind of stuff, plus a bunch of fun that we'll find out. Make sure that you hit us up there. Channel memberships, thank you very much. I do have channel memberships. Thank you, B-Surf. That's a cool picture, by the way. Avatar. It's a cool avatar. We do check those out. I think it's like $5-6 a month, and we'll be doing. In fact, thinking of that. Telling you with this butt thing, it's hard to reach. But I hate bringing that up. But we do have. We did put in a new order. Anybody and everybody who is a part of the member, I'll get you one of these trucker hats, and we're going to do, as I said, we're going to do all sorts of chats and different things, but we're going to get merchandise, and those who are members, we will have those for you free of charge. So, in that regard, that will pay for your any kind of membership right out of the gate, but don't feel forced to do that. All right. Thank you so much. Had a great time. We will do more of that tomorrow at 10 a.m. If you are so inclined, I would love to see you. We'll do that. Remember, feedback on the show is paramount because the show is only as much as, hey, I like this, I don't like this. Having Pop on is great. I don't know how much they'll limit him being on, but we'll see how much we can get him on the show. But thank you so much. Make sure you tell us what you love. Tell us what you hate. I'm open to everything. The show is a safe space. You don't have to agree with me. We've had those conversations a million times. Please make sure that you subscribe to John Lund Unleashed Pod on YouTube. That is the best way to do it, and put those alerts on. Yesterday, for example, we sent out like 3 or 4 exclusive to people who are subscribers and members yesterday on more videos beyond the regular show. So you do get that perk as well. So there's all sorts of reasons to do it. Thanks for watching on X and Instagram, johnlundunleashed.com. Everybody have a tremendous Friday, and we'll speak at you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, and you'll see stuff throughout the day. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!